Good evening, everybody. Hi, this is Dr. Shravani Reddy. I am the Chief Strategy Officer for Click to Clinic Home Healthcare India. Thank you so much for joining us today, this evening, for this very special and unique career talk session, wherein we are going to talk about career opportunities for nursing in home healthcare specifically. I've got a very interesting guest who's joining us today to be the expert from the nursing industry. Allow me to introduce her formally before she starts connecting with you. I can see some of you already live and here, so please feel free to drop in your comments in the chat box. If you want to raise a question, please drop it in the chat box. While we are talking and doing the conversation, I will pick up your questions and help answer them as well. So we have Mrs. Bobby Ramesh here with us today, one of the senior most nursing leaders in the country. I don't think she needs an introduction, but still I'd like to formally introduce her. Bobby here is a nursing graduate to begin with from the College of Nursing of prestigious Armed Forces Medical College, Pune. And then she went on to do her post-graduation and business administration and management as well. And she is currently is also pursuing an executive program in IIM Raipur. She has previously held a lot of prestigious positions. As the Group Director of Nursing Services, she was with Parkway Panshe Group at their India operations. She was Director of Nursing Services at Apollo Hospitals, Hyderabad, Director Nursing Services with Jaslok, Mumbai. She was the General Manager, Admin and Quality with Azizia Medical College in Kollam, Kerala, so on and so forth. She has held many prestigious positions. Accolades, she's already a principal assessor for NABH for nursing excellence. She has spent enough time in the industry that most of you know her already by face and by name. So it brings me immense pleasure to have Bobby with us today to talk about career opportunities for nurses in home care. Bobby, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Shravani, and thanks a lot, organizers of Click to Clinic, for inviting me to the session. And I'd like to thank the participants also to join us in spite of their busy schedule now with us. So I look forward to an interactive session with the audience and with you as well.
Thank you so much. So this is for all the audience. We are going to be talking about career for nurses in home care. But before we get into it, let me tell you that let's keep it as informal as possible. That's why we do not have a PowerPoint today and we're not going to deliver any lecture today. It's going to be a one-on-one interaction with each one of us. So we are going to be talking about how home healthcare scenario has taken a complete different route since COVID. We know that home healthcare needs have already been on the rise with the increase in the lifestyle disorders and other diseases like cancers recently in the decade that went by. But especially with the advent of COVID, we have seen a tremendous turn or a surge in terms of home healthcare need. Today, a lot of healthcare needs, the needle has shifted to homes from the primary hospital and service delivery facilities. Now, that is the context, and we all know and agree that nurses play a very central role and a key role in any patient care delivery, be it in any facility, hospital, or home care, or primary care, or clinics. That is why this year, the World Health Organization has designated this year as the year of nurses and midwives. We are in the last couple of weeks while we end the year. I think there's no better time than to acknowledge the amount of work that nurses have put in this year, the way they have risen to the occasion and took up the challenge and worked, without looking at their schedules and shifts, and they've delivered tremendous service. And we are very, very thankful to each and every one of you out there in the front line as a nurse who has faced COVID with such great courage. While I thank you, I would like to bring our attention to home care service delivery and how nurses play a key role there. Bobby, I'd like to invite you in here and talk about, while me as a home health aggregator, every day we cater to various patients' needs, and my primary service providers are nurses and caregivers. Now, while we have to talk about the various roles that a nurse can play in home health care, could we talk about that? What are the various roles that a nurse can play?
As you rightly said, thank you, Shravani. As you rightly said, nurses are the cornerstone of healthcare system, be it in the hospitals or at home healthcare. And definitely during this pandemic, the way they have worked, they are better recognized than even during the pre-COVID era. Even the media and people, public community, everybody have recognized their services. And similarly, home healthcare is another area which is booming now. Though in the last, initially, at least 10 years back, I can remember when home healthcare was just, starting in our country. Even I was offered at that time as a nursing director with a very good salary and 5 days a week and all. But even at that time, I was a bit hesitant to join this industry, thinking, and everybody said, oh, you want to join home healthcare, then your career will be doomed and things like that. How it is going to function in India, we do not know. Everybody will come to the hospitals. But you see, things have changed a lot. And in the last 5 years, home healthcare industry has, doubled, in terms of their clientele. And even now after COVID, all the more it is booming leaps and bounds, and people feel there is a necessity for home healthcare services. And considering it is the nurses who are providing the care at home to the patients, mainly in home healthcare, when we say, it is a registered nurses, registered doctors and people, and others, whether it is a nursing assistants or ANMs, they assist them in giving the care. But these people are the ones who are mainly there with the patients. And even if the patients want the services, like for example, they ask for a 3-day service or a 5 days, and seeing the care provided is good, then they request for an extension of services purely because of the nursing care provided by the nurse at home. So definitely the role of nurses in home healthcare is very promising, and in the coming days, more than hospitals, patients would prefer, unless for a very major ailment they have to go, everybody would prefer to be cared, in the comfort of their home. So they have various roles to play as a field nurse. And now, initially it was only just going and assisting them for their activities of daily living or giving some medications and injections, whereas now it has even expanded to providing specialty care, like in ICU or oncology and dialysis, etc. So there are various roles which are promising, and I think it will keep adding upon with more expansion and in the home healthcare industry.
Right. Bobby, you raised a very valid point talking about two things. One, how a registered nurse has a very, very evident role in home healthcare and how that can be defined. Two is specialty care is something you've mentioned. Now, as I work with a lot of providers and individual nurses every day, these are daily conversations that I'm talking about. The moment I say there is an opportunity to be an on-call nurse, either in onco segment or in ortho segment or post trauma care or whatever that is, a couple of questions that quickly come up with nurses is one, but ma'am, I'm a trained nurse in this specialty. I have spent X years in this ward. Y number of years I have been a critical care nurse. Now, how do I fit into this home care industry? Could we talk about that, Bobby? I'll give you an example. Today, we manage patients with COVID who have discharged from the hospitals. Post-COVID management is taken care by us at homes. Now, a lot of these patients are walking out of their ICUs to their homes. A lot of times they come with some equipment, some support is needed. There is some intensive care support that they need at home also for recovery. Could you talk about that? How these trained nurses and specialized nurses have a role to play?
As I said, compared to Western countries, in India, people used to consider a taboo, though nowadays nurses have started, joining home healthcare, but still I think it needs to improve a lot and mindset have to change. There has to be a change in mindset. Abroad, I remember even 10 years back, many of my students and friends have joined in community health nursing or home health nursing in Western countries, where they are paid 1.5 times more than working in the hospitals, and equal demand and equal respect and recognition. Whereas people think in India, if I'm a registered nursing professional, should I go to the home to care for? Is it not an assistant's job? Whether a nurse is required, whether I'll be accepted or recognized. So these are various concerns they have. I think with nurses, with the training, what we have in our college, even when we are studying in our curriculum, we have community health posting, wherein we go to houses in rural. You are a doctor yourself, so you have rural community posting and urban community postings, wherein we go and visit families in rural areas and even in the urban slum areas. And also you have a picture of how you go, take care, give health education and things like that. But when it comes to taking up a job, people are a bit reluctant, because many times these nursing assistants and also the ANMs or multi-purpose health workers also are giving care at home. So they feel they may be considered equally. No. What I said, the difference between home care and home health care is this. Home care, it is an assisted, caregiving by the unregistered healthcare professionals, and home healthcare is by registered professionals, and nurses have a great scope, and especially with the BSc or even MSc, GNM, BSc, and masters, there is a specialization in community health nursing or public health nursing, and they do the specialization in community health. But unfortunately, I am not sure how many of them would have joined this home healthcare, and this is a great opportunity for such specialty nurses to join this field now, so that they can grow up in their career and they can do very well in the healthcare field.
Right. Now, the specialty wise division, if we see, Bobby, and for the audience also, today we know the oncopalliative segment is very huge. The patients who undergo chemotherapy or radiotherapy or surgical onco, if they've gone through a surgery, oncology is a separate segment wherein it needs a different kind of care altogether during the treatment. Even with simple chemo also, the patient needs support. And then, even when it moves to palliative care, supportive care and pain management also, definitely it is the nurse who gets to deliver that care at the end of the day. It is not a caregiver who will be able to provide that. Now, oncopalliative is one such segment. Intensive care, we've already discussed. Nephro, again, today we have so many patients on dialysis today who have regular dialysis schedules. And now we all know it's moving to home as well. Everything is moving to home, isn't it? It's home dialysis now. And we are talking about home chemotherapy delivery also now. Probably that is the future. You want to talk about that, Bobby? Chemotherapy at home and dialysis at home?
Yes, absolutely. Patients nowadays want to spend lesser time in the hospital. And, with increase in nuclear families, previously it used to be joint families, and, people used to be there to take care of somebody who's sick at home or in the hospital. But now with nuclear family, with people going for work, and if somebody falls sick, somebody to be an attendant at the hospital is very difficult to care for their loved one, or even at home to spend adequate attention is very difficult. So definitely for onco patients, definitely they have to have regular cycles of chemotherapy and other specialized procedures also, and more and people at the comfort of their home, if they are provided this care, they are demanding for the same. And so oncology nursing is in demand. Chemo, because of the increasing population of patients with cancer. Patient geriatric age group is also increasing, the senior citizens. So even the geriatric care or geriatric nurses, or who care for such patients, are definitely in demand. Similarly, post trauma, post surgery, nowadays, as you know very well, daycare surgeries are increasing, and daycare centers and daycare surgery, people come in the morning, they finish their operation and they go by evening. So post-operative care also at home, patients prefer, and doctors do recommend post-operative care at home. So post-surgical, so people who have worked in surgical wards or who have a specialization of medical surgical nursing, them or critical care nursing, they can take care of this post-operative patients, post-traumatic patient, and even post-stroke. It takes a long time for the patient to get cured or rehabilitated. So even during rehabilitation, nurses play a very vital role for a long term. And one thing I forgot, even postnatal care. Previously, if a lady used to deliver, she used to go to her mother's place, mother or mother-in-law will take care for months together. But now all that is not practical at all. So definitely if they deliver today and come back home tomorrow, if somebody is coming to give them postnatal care, teach them about child care and everything, they are more comfortable and confident to take care of themselves and to recuperate.
Yeah. I think one key point you touched upon, Bobby, sorry to interrupt you, we'll go back to that, is wound care. Post-operative care at home. And I think wound care is one of the key concepts that nurses master very initially in their careers, and as they experience and they master the art. And wound care is something, this is again from our real-time request perspective, I'm saying wound care is something that comes up very often. Post-op care and wound care. Again, you need a trained nurse there. You can't send anybody and everybody, because one of the common questions or queries my surgeons come up and ask when they're referring a patient or sending a patient is, we want the best possible wound care to be delivered to the patient so that the recovery is faster, so the wound heals better. So I think any nurse who's experienced and specialized in these areas has definitely a unique role and an identity to establish in home care if they are interested. Please go on. I think postnatal care is something brilliant that you just mentioned. How much ever we talk about midwives and japas in a countries like ours, we are trying out those models. But at the end of the day, I think, once the delivery is done, be it a C-section, mostly for a C-section, there are a lot of apprehensions for a new young mother who's in the city. Like you rightly said, a nuclear family, only a couple is here, they're apprehensive about a lot of things, and they want that care to be delivered by somebody who knows the job. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And if it is available at the comfort of their home, nothing like that.
Yeah. Today, because nobody wants to go to hospitals, don't get me wrong. What I mean is, in the perspective of COVID, we want to keep it as less as possible. I think pre-COVID, the notion was wherein for everything we wanted to rush. Today, for everything we are evaluating, can this be done at home?
So even in ICU, you imagine if a patient is admitted in the ICU, there is a restriction of visitors, family members also are not allowed in many hospitals. In some places, it is only once a day or twice a day. And, at home, even at home ICU setup at home also is increasing these days, and people are, demanding for that. So nurses are in demand to take care of ventilated patients at home. Tracheostomy patients, patients with tracheostomy, specialized nurses who can give tracheostomy care, they are in demand these days, because at home, at their homely environment, if they are taken care of even on a ventilator, I think patients feel comfortable. Maybe they cure better. Their recovery is faster, maybe. Or even if it is an end stage, at least the loved ones are by their side.
Yeah. No, absolutely right. These are everyday cases that we get, Bobby, wherein patients walk out of their ICUs to their homes, like I said, with a off-weaning of a BiPAP or a CPAP, on ventilator. They need that intensive care to be continued at home as well. And only a trained nurse, an experienced nurse can do that. Either they have to be experienced or we have to train them. But we definitely need,
they have to have a registered. They need to be registered nurse who can handle all these medical equipments. And, if the patient is on tracheostomy, they need to be able to take care of the tracheostomy and a ventilator. And if the patient is undergoing dialysis, even those aspects they have to take care of. So they have to be registered nurses, definitely.
Right. Now that we've established there are so many areas where the registered nurses have a place and a role to play in home healthcare, Bobby, let's talk about the uncomfortable things. Let's talk about the challenges, the realistic challenges for a nurse to pick up a home healthcare. Now, you've been in the industry for quite long. I interact with a lot of nurses on a day-to-day basis. We know a lot of things, we hear a lot of things, why some people back off. Some, I think, are not aware enough about the opportunities, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to bring you on board and do this session today. Second, I think there are some real-time challenges or misconceptions also. I'd like to bring out one or two of them so that you can comment on them, because it will be right for you to comment than me. Now, one thing you've already mentioned initially, Bobby, is the taboo. I am a registered nurse. How can I go deliver the care at home? This is not unique to nurses. Me being a doctor, today in the premise of COVID, a lot of consultations are being requested at home. Remember the old school, how a family physician used to visit our homes to see us when we are sick and all of that. Now that has faded over the last couple of decades. We got used to being treated at hospitals. Today, even us doctors also, we have the taboo that, how can I go home to see a patient? Teleconsultation is still fine, but would I go home? But some patients, seniors or elderly patients, they still need the consultant to go there and kind of, evaluate the patient. So it's not unique to nurses. This taboo exists for my community also. What is your take on this, Bobby?
Absolutely. The taboo thing is slowly, people are getting to understand the importance of, delivering a home healthcare or home healthcare services. As you rightly said, even doctors were not going home, that family medicine practice stopped and every patient has to go to the hospital. Now again back, doctors are going for consultation, even specialized specialists are going, visiting homes for consultation. So I think the mindset has to change, and people need to look into, and there are a lot of opportunities available, and this is going to,
yeah. So one thing is, I think the taboo is for us to win over. It is for me to decide if I want to deliver the care to the patient, be it at home or at hospital. It's about the care we deliver, and of course the benefits that we draw out of it. I don't think there should be anything else as a concern. Another thing interesting, Bobby, you brought up also in the conversation yesterday when we were talking about how some of them feel insecure. or have apprehensions about going to somebody's house. Can you talk about that? Is there an example or something you want to say?
I can just tell, see, one thing is I'm a trained nurse. I'm used to working in the hospital, or I'm trained in my college that I'll be taking care of patients in the hospital. Even in the college, when they are teaching, they are sending you for posting, though they send you for community posting, never they put in your head normally that you'll be going in for home healthcare services also. After finishing your studies, then you are recruited. Even campus placement is only for the hospitals. So a little bit more of branding may be required, or awareness may be required. And also, I feel that they feel apprehensive. See, apprehensive of going to an unknown home, maybe a fear of violence or abuse by the patients. But that is possible even in the hospital. We read in news, right? Once in a while, doctors are being there's a violence against doctor or a nurse. So even in the hospital setup, it is possible. At home setup also, sometimes it is possible, but it is not always happening. And in the present scenario with the COVID and everything, patients do understand and families do understand the importance of home health care, and nurses, they are recognizing who are coming home, or the doctors coming home for giving their services, and they do even demand, which you know very well, that we want so and so nurse for these many days, like that. Even by name they recognize. So the best thing about that is that if you're going for a home, see, unlike a hospital where you go into one particular hospital where you're full-time employee or working in home healthcare, it is every time you have to go to a different house, and you have to adjust with the work environment. So that may be adjusting to change is always difficult for anyone, especially for a novice nurse or juniors without much of experience. So one need to be mature enough to understand that, and with all the training you received in your college and the training and the orientation you received in your home healthcare institution, I think they should be confident enough to understand. And so this is one of the main challenge, that every time the workplace environment is different for them, they have to go to different places. Apart from that, this fear of violence or abuse. And third thing is transportation. See, if you're going to a hospital for work, every day you have a set routine, you have to go to this hospital and come back. Whereas, transportation, many of the home healthcare may not be providing them. They have to go on their own. So that is one major challenge which I feel nurses face who are working in the home healthcare industry. Apart from that, one more thing is burnout. With shortage of nurses, maybe as such they do a 12-hour shift, and long working hours may lead to, and long working hours demanding patients and families at home. Some families will be too demanding and too nagging also. So that will also add upon to their stress and burnout. It may lead to burnout. Yeah.
It's interesting you brought the word burnout here, Bobby. I was just going to talk about it from the other perspective. How can we talk about the nurses' burnout in the hospitals? The kind of schedules, shifts, rotations. All I'm saying is I agree with you. A similar burnout is happening in the hospitals as well, and not just for nurses, for healthcare practitioners as such, be it doctors, or especially with COVID, we have seen what has gone on. We've all seen those pictures of those masks and late night shifts. But you worked in the hospital setting, Bobby. I've been part of clinical practice, so we know that is the demand of our jobs, how we do it. But today, Bobby, if one of these nurses wants to change a little path or the career path, make a small tweak so that she or he can be a little more flexible and accommodate her family needs or his family needs, let's say. A lot of times, one of the big challenges with nurses is they're not able to give enough time. Like any other profession, I think they're not able to give enough time, because I know how it works, shift after shift, shift after shift, and then shifts get extended for these nurses also. I can only imagine what went on during COVID. You must have faced this as well. Now, as most of this community are women, we have to accept that. There is that family, managing a family, childbirth, a lot of that also comes into play. So if a nurse wants to have a little better flexibility in her career, Bobby, and reduce that burnout, don't you think home care has an opportunity for that?
Absolutely, because many a times post delivery and post marriage and all, nurses do resign. That is one of the major reasons for attrition in the hospitals. Okay, my family doesn't permit me to do a night duty, or my family, with this 3 shift, I'm not able to adjust with my family life, or I need to take care of my kid and things like that. So there definitely the home healthcare system has flexible working hours, because some can only do day duty. Some, if they want only night duty, they can go in for night duty. for locum duties or weekend duties. So they can pick up, the home healthcare agencies can have schedules and flexibility for nurses. So they can pick up in whichever the shift they want to work, whether weekday or weekend or on night. Some prefer only night duty, maybe some prefer weekend duty. So accordingly, it can be flexible and they can be paid accordingly, right?
Right, right. Bobby, there is an interesting question from somebody in the audience. So let me pick it up before we move on. This is Rema from QAI who's asking, we are in COVID situation where home healthcare has emerged as a liberator. We still face the challenge of trust. How can we erase the doubts from families' minds who are unaware of this field? Any comments from your end?
Okay. Erase the doubt from family mind who are unaware of this field. Definitely with more awareness and more branding and more communication from home healthcare agencies about the advantages of home healthcare is one thing, and sending skilled and trained staff is the second thing. Okay, so then if they send a skilled and trained staff, even in the hospital, the staff are evaluated by the patients and whether they are giving good, care, whether they are communicating well. So the staff are communicating very well and they are giving the care adequately. And the third thing is about going in for an accreditation. Here I'd like to mention that Quality Accreditation of India, they have rolled out accreditation standards for home healthcare organization, which is approved by, recognized by international ISQA, International Society of Quality and Accreditation. It is one of its kind, which Quality Accreditation Institute has rolled out. So they have got set safety parameters, be it in terms of patient safety, employee safety, credentialing and privileging of the staff who are going to give care. So if the home healthcare agencies are looking into and implementing these accreditation standards, definitely that will definitely improve the quality of care rendered, and that will definitely improve the patient safety as well, definitely. And that will definitely lead to the improvement in the confidence of the patients on home healthcare.
Right. Allow me to add a couple of points here, Bobby, in the same context, since you mentioned quality and accreditation. Now, I can speak for my organization. Now, this is a realistic challenge. I think Rema's question is very, very relevant. It's very, very important to empanel or employ people with credentials and verified credentials. That's number one. The empanelment should needs to have that checklist of what all things we ensure before we empanel somebody. A lot of times from patients, we get, some of my team members are live today. They get calls from patients every day saying that, is this going to be anybody? Who is this coming? They're very apprehensive and worried. Rema is raising the same point. How do we build the trust of the families? It's a very, very valid point. The patient's family doesn't know who's coming in. This is also a stranger that's going to walk in. Now, me as the mediator or the facilitator for the patient and the provider, what do I do as Click to Clinic is one thing, like you mentioned, is while credentialing and empaneling these healthcare practitioners or nurses, we ensure there is a KYC verification that happens, a police verification that happens, academic credentials are being verified. If you are a registered nurse, your nursing council number and the copy is taken. That is the preliminary checkpoint and the checklist that we make sure before we empanel. So my team members, when they talk to the patients also, they convey the same information. So they randomly ask, who is this? Is it going to be anybody that you're going to send? No, this is somebody who's gone through this process of empanelment. Second level, Bobby, we are talking about sending in quality nurses to deliver quality care. Now, based on the kind of the patient or the case or the kind of care to be delivered there, we obviously choose between the providers we want to deploy. Obviously, a 2-year, 3-year experienced, a junior nurse will not be sent for managing a patient who needs a critical support. So those filters are in place. So one thing is internal team training about these quality metrics and protocols about which provider to be deployed where to which patient is something that the company takes care of. Second, continued education and keeping the nurses update with the changing standards of protocols. The infection prevention protocols which were delivered last year are not the same today. With COVID, everything has gone for a toss and there is a new protocol every day. But we do work with standardized agencies wherein we benchmark our protocols. Our clinical excellence program has certain modules for infection prevention, quality control, and patient safety, which covers medication errors as well and wound care, wherein we make sure that these providers go through those modules before they get into the patient care. But having said that, this is a continuous evolving process. We have to continuously keep training them. Like you said, patients give us feedback and then we analyze and go back to the provider and share that feedback with them. And if somebody is struggling, a junior nurse is struggling, we help them go through those modules again so that they are more confident the next time when they go there. I think to answer Rema's question specifically, of course, when we have these things in place, we can definitely go ahead for those quality accreditation standards and get that seal. But I think more than anything, it begins with the right training of the personnel. Right training always matters. And
picking up right candidate first, picking up right candidates for the delivery of care, and then the right training.
Right, definitely. So we pick up the right people and then we train them the right way to ensure the care delivery happens right. And then I think accreditations can come in. Definitely they have a role to play. They will add value. So
accreditations will help streamline the policies and protocols based on, internationally and internationally recognized standards. That's why.
Right. Definitely. I think that's the next big thing. How NABH and JCI have revolutionized everything in the last decade for hospitals. I think now it's moving on to home care as well. And that's definitely something we all should look at. Another thing we continuously do is, have the nursing council with senior leaders like you, mentor these nurses in terms of, taking a career direction like a career talk that we're doing. But we also do skill session deliveries as well. For example, if a COVID protocol has been published today with vaccination coming in, if let's say there is a tweak in the protocol and then a certain protocol needs to be followed, we make sure our entire provider database gets trained on that through one of our experts like you. And, we make sure everybody has gone through that. So that continued nursing update is something that keeps us abreast. But to simply answer Rema's question, how do we build patients' trust? I think Bobby answered it rightly. When they see the right person going to them, and I think it becomes immediately evident once a nurse comes in the initial couple of hours, they know, if they're comfortable with her, if she's able to deliver the care right or not. Yeah. So I think the trust will be built over time with creating more awareness and keeping all of these policies in place. Bobby, let's go back to another interesting point you referred to. I want to bring you back to that. You mentioned how when you guys get out of nursing schools, like we got out of medical schools, they only told us, finish your graduation and then you walk into a hospital and treat a patient or sit in a clinic and treat a patient, isn't it? Nobody told me that I would need management skills or entrepreneurial skills to become an effective clinician. They didn't. I'm sure, the same happens because you said in nursing colleges, when placements happen, that's mostly for hospitals or, for nursing homes, isn't it? That's
not mostly, always. It is always for hospitals.
Brilliant. Can we talk?
So reputed home healthcare agencies also should be contacting the colleges, and they should also create an awareness drive and conduct a recruitment so that, nowadays the youngsters are more curious and keen to know, and they are also willing to take up unconventional roles unlike before. That is how more and more people are, moving into managerial roles and, some unconventional roles into informatics and telehealth, etc.
Right. Now we spoke a lot about individual nursing career roles, Bobby. Let's get into the career path for nurses in home care. If let's say I'm a registered nurse and I want to get into home care today, I get inspired by your talk today. I want to become a home care nurse today. Tell us what all can we do as a nurse, how we can grow in the career.
So for any growth in your career, you need to upskill and update your knowledge and skills as well. So you can, after working for a few years, you can get into managerial role like as a nurse manager, wherein you can manage a group of nurses working in home healthcare. And then from managerial role, if you're working in a chain of, home healthcare agency, which has a chain of centers across the country or across the state, then you can become a cluster head, you can become a unit head, and you can become a state level regional nursing head, and even at country level there are at least 4-5 major chains of home healthcare agencies in the hospital. So they have roles that definitely, I'm sure, after being the bedside, and then you can become a manager, supervisor, unit nursing head, and then at regional and country level. This is purely nursing. Then in specialty, some people do not want to go into managerial role. They want to be at the bedside and they want to give care, and their specialty roles. They can do their critical care nursing, and they can take care of critically ill patients at the home front, wherein they are paid much better than the regular nurses. People who are, whether it is an oncology nurse, whether it is a critical care nurse, their pay is higher than this, so there also they can, grow in different grades as well. Thirdly, they don't want to grow in nursing. They want to change in career path or shift in career from nursing to managerial role. They can get into marketing, because going in and knowing the understanding the business, working in home healthcare, they can definitely get into service delivery. They can get into marketing and managerial role in general. They can get into even quality training and development. So various verticals they can think of. HR role, they can get into a role of HR, because maximum of the staff required are nurses, right? So they can get into a training development role. They can get into service delivery role. I know one of my friend who was a community health nurse, later became a unit head, and then at country level, then she was a nursing head for home health care, and now she takes care of the entire service delivery, inclusive of all the services provided by the home health care agency. And apart from that, one interesting role is of a nurse entrepreneur. You can be a entrepreneur as well. You can start your own home healthcare agency, or you can have a franchisee. I think you should be able to explain this better, Dr. Shravan.
Yeah, I was going to come to that, Bobby. You brought in an interesting point wherein we have a relevant question also in the chat box. Hannah James is asking, thank you so much for the session. I'd like to know about the options for higher studies in MBA and MHA after BSc Nursing in India and the career opportunities. She says, sorry that the question is unrelated, but I'd still like to hear from Bobby, madam. Before I hand it over to you, let me answer the entrepreneur question in relation to this question that Hannah has asked. Nursing entrepreneurship is something that rarely people think about. Like clinician entrepreneurship also has now taken a different seat, but previously it was also the same thing with doctors, that we see patients alone. And then when we spend a million years seeing patients, then we become, ahead of the hospital and sit there. That is if we run the show. Entrepreneurship is for everybody and anybody who's interested in improving the patient outcomes from a different perspective. As a nurse or a doctor, you and I can improve patient outcomes to a single patient by doing the best possible care delivery at that patient's bedside. But if you want to increase your impact, if you want to change the way how that entire ward is run, or the wing is run, or the hospital is run, or the entire COVID response for the state is run, you and I want to have that entrepreneurial mindset wherein we want to create patient delivery mechanisms which are better than yesterday for a larger population. That can happen only when we get into managerial leadership and entrepreneurial roles. A lot of times we think, since we are from clinical background, what should we do to become that? One, like Bobby rightly said, because we are not taught these skills in our medical colleges and nursing colleges, there is nothing wrong in pursuing an upskilling program or an upgradation program. Like all of us have done distance programs, be it in business administration, or we still continue to do senior executive programs. I finished one last year. Bobby is doing one right now. Why do we do this? Is to hone our skills, to sharpen our skills, to come up with better patient care solutions for the community. Now, nurses also can look at that. Now, talking about home care specifically, since Bobby mentioned franchisees also. If you are a home care nurse, you've spent few years in the industry, you know the skills required for this, and you know how the system operates. You can easily, train few nurses, pool few nurses, and run your own franchisee, a home care agency. If you say that, I don't know how to run it on my own, take a franchisee of a company like ours, or any that matter. What I mean is, if you can't directly run the entire show, pick up a franchisee where marketing and sales support and tech support is given by the company there, and you'll have to take care of the training and the service delivery aspect of it. You could still run your show. Or if you say that I want to be, a service provider, I will pool these nurses and provide for home care. You can run a home care agency or a franchisee like that also, a bureau. This is not something new. Traditionally, a lot of mom and pop agencies have been run like this, home care agencies. But the only thing is, with proper training and quality metrics in place, it helps you to deliver better care. Then the patients, another big challenge in a country like India is the willingness to pay. A lot of times the patients don't want to pay more than an X amount, saying that, this is not worth it. But the moment they see how you are training your nurses, how you are qualifying your nurses, and how accreditation standards are being maintained, even if you are a small franchisee, then they will start paying value, because they are paying that price because they see the value in it. So it is for you and I to build that value for our own groups and Each one of us can become an entrepreneur that way. Nobody is stopping. People say sky is the limit. I don't think so. COVID has clearly shown us sky is also not the limit. It is for us to reach as high as possible. But the point is to realize that these opportunities exist in home care today. I work with a lot of providers, groups and individuals as well. But my plea to all the individual practitioners here is, to take that decision for themselves individually. Take from the cues what Bobby has mentioned. You can always pick up your own thing and don't have to make it more flexible. You get to call your shots. Today, with locum nursing facility has come in, we were going to talk about that, Bobby. Wherein if you are a home care nurse, my team, some of them are logged in today, they know. Some of the nurses tell us, ma'am, I'm available only on weekends. Put me on Saturday, Sunday duties, weekdays I'm busy. People give us deadlines that, till 20th I'm available. After that, I'm going on a vacation for 5 days. I'm not available. Till then, I'm happy doing the shifts. It gives you so much more flexibility to plan things. I think that's a great advantage for women, especially where we need to run families also. Yeah, Bobby, you want to answer Hannah? She's asking about MBA and MHA after BSc nursing.
I can't see her question. Can you repeat it once again?
Options for higher studies in MBA and MHA after BSc nursing in India, and career opportunities. How can this help and how should they do it?
Yeah, there are reputed institutions wherein you can do a distance education program in MBA. There are institutions where full-time courses are there also. So either you can opt for a full-time course if you're able to afford it, or you can go in for a distance education. But definitely doing an MBA or a MHA is definitely worth it. And even ISB, I think Dr. Shravani has done recently a course, 1 year, course. ISB and IAM also conducts a 1 year executive program in healthcare, and definitely these courses give you an edge over others for getting employed in reputed institutes in administrative level. Also, to shift your career from nursing. Even in nursing, if you have to become a nursing head of any reputed hospital, along with your nursing degree, you need to have a diploma or degree in hospital admin as per the nursing excellence standard. So, when you do a diploma, though I have done an MBA in hospital admin and a PG diploma in quality, still now when I've taken a break from work, I thought I need to update my knowledge. I enrolled for a 1 year general management program from IAM Raipur, which I just finished. And definitely what is happening now in the industry, be it in healthcare or other industry, how the business happens, and what are the things which we need to know in terms of finance, strategy, and various other business communication and other areas they teach you, which are not taught in nursing. Even with experience, some things we can learn, but some things, we need to enroll ourselves for some courses, so that, even as nurses, we need to know about the finance in our institution or our agency. What is the top line? What is the bottom line? What is EBITDA? These, important few things we need to know if you have to work in a managerial or administrator level, and even if you have to shift your career from nursing. So if you want to shift your career from nursing, very much essential for you to do an MBA or a MHA. Tata Institute, Mumbai also conducts one, which is very reputed. There are many other places which conduct, and you can go in for that. There are opportunities in HR department. There are because in the hospital, 60 to 65% of the employees are nurses, and most of the hospitals are NABH accredited. Some are JC accredited. Lots of credentialing and lot of paperwork is there, which if you're a nurse, definitely you can know to maintain a personal file. So you can work in HR department, you can work in quality department, you can work in operations directly. So various departments you can verticals are there, and finally you can aim for working as a unit head or a COO or a CEO also. And in Western countries, though nurses, senior nurses are preferred to be the CEO of the hospital, in India, still nurses are, it's a sad thing that, nurses are not considered, though hardly one or two are there as CEO of one or two hospitals, but mostly experienced nurses with qualification also are not considered. But I think there too, the mindset has to change. With adequate experience in the hospital, knowing how all the departments function and how you interact with all the other team members also, nurses will be making a better administrator than anybody else. I feel that, yeah.
think that's where home care is an interesting catch, Bobby, because you get to do your own thing. You get to run your own show. If you want to become a bureau or an agency on your own, you can pool your nurses and you know these training protocols and you know how quality works because you worked in the industry. Home care, I think, gives that interesting opportunity to nurses become entrepreneurs on their own and not wait for, such opportunities wherein, I agree with you that there is that bias that still exists not just for nurses. I think for a lot of clinical professionals, I think that still exists, that business roles don't get it. Home care is something interesting that all of us can try. Bobby, there's one topic that I have been wanting to touch upon. With home care, I have clearly mentioned to you that, home care gives that opportunity about flexibility in work timings is one thing. The other is the pay scales. Now, you and I know, we've worked in the hospital sector, what kind of demands and shifts and timings and schedules are expected and what kind of pay scales are there. You yourself have admitted, giving a comparison with the West, that, comparatively, in home care, a nurse for a care that she delivers, she's definitely paid more. And I agree because I work with these providers every day. I have people working on call for me, wherein on call, they go deliver a service and come back and get paid for that particular service. They work for specific shifts, which they dictate 6 hours or 12 hours or 24 hours, and they get paid a handsome amount. Could we talk about the compensation, Bobby? Because it will be right for you to comment.
Yeah, absolutely. If they are going for a special service like going for an IV administration, going for a particular procedure, they are paid for that. But if they're paying for full time, if they're with a company, reputed companies do pay them well. But I doubt whether standalone agencies pay them adequately. You should be able to explain about this better, because standalone agency, I feel they take the major cuts and pay these nurses lesser. So standalone, some of the agencies do not pay them adequately. So that is one demotivating factor for the nurses to get into that. But definitely the bigger groups pay them well, but still I feel they pay them well. But if it is compared to the hours of service they put in, it is not higher. Because in the hospital they may be working lesser hours, like in a week they may have to work 40 hours, 48 hours, whereas in home health care, if they're working 12 hours daily, it is for 6 days a week, so it amounts to 12 6 or 72 hours. So then compared to the hours they are putting in, the salary is they're adequately compensated. It is not higher, but then definitely I feel that the salary need to be salary can always be better for them, because many a times home healthcare demand increases. The providers or the agencies, the demand of services increases mainly because of the nurses. It's mainly because of the nurses who go and give a care and they are confident. They say, we want to extend the number of days, or we want the nurses to come for a month more to give. Otherwise, they would have discounted. So the agency get profit from the nursing care delivered. So the nurses have to be given a, whenever there is a package, revamping, or there is a incentive being given, it should not only be the sales and marketing people who should be considered, which unfortunately is across the healthcare industry. Nurses are only given a fixed salary if they are on a full time, but they should be also given some incentive bonus, and when there is a hike in package for other managerial posts, even nurse managers and nurses also have to be considered.
Right. Bobby, you made a very valid point when you spoke about these provider agencies, how the nurses might not be getting their fair share. Now, that's where I want to bring in, Click to Clinic into perspective, wherein since I'm an aggregator, I work with service providers directly. And today we are doing this talk with individual nurses, and we will continue to do. We've launched a Dear Nurse campaign earlier this month about empanelment of nurses to home care. If you see, our entire conversation is with the nurse. It's not with the provider group or with an agency. We work with provider groups and agencies, and we've got very loyal provider groups who work with us and who help us cater to patients. But at the end of the day, it is the individual healthcare practitioner, be it the phlebotomist or the physiotherapist or the nurse or the doctor, who is at the end of the day delivering the service to the patient, who will continue to, deliver that the effective patient care delivery. And then, of course, he or she will be carrying the brand that they are going from. So we've put in our heart and soul more into the independent nurses in the network. That's why I'm happy to have this conversation with, individual nurses today, saying that, you could, if you are the service provider and I'm the facilitator, there ends the conversation. You could connect with us, empanel with us, and whenever I have a need of service, I should be able to reach out to you and you can deliver that service. We talked about locum nursing facility, Bobby, wherein, on-call availability, if the nurse says today, let's say Rema is online, if she says I'm available on Saturdays and Sundays in Hyderabad for a pediatric nursing, let's say, and there is a list of 10 people like that, my team will only reach out to you and push all the patient needs to you only for Saturday and Sunday. And for that, you get compensated handsomely for every service that you're delivering. That's because we are cutting down the middle layers as much as possible. And it is just the nurse and us interacting. You know what I mean?
So yeah, I would want to ask you one more question here. Like if the nurses, you said that you have asked the nurses to empanel with them across the country so that you'll have a pool of nurses about their details you may be giving to the providers. So here nurses would definitely have a concern as to about their health insurance or their occupational safety, their safety aspect and things like that. So who's accountable for that? If they work in a hospital, definitely the organization takes care of these things. So
Right. So we work two ways. So one is, for example, let's say if a provider group is working with us, usually it is the provider group or the bureau or the agency which takes the accountability. But if you are deploying an individual nurse or an independent nurse, an individual healthcare practitioner is being sent, then definitely it becomes the responsibility of us to make sure that that safety protocols are maintained, their occupational safety is maintained. That definitely sits with us. If you are sending a individual practitioner from our end, that will be taken care by us. But if it is sent through a provider agency, usually it is the provider that takes care. But if it is through me, if you are going out, then definitely Click to Clinic becomes the responsibility holder for this thing. Yeah. Now
I forgot to add in one last thing. One thing in career I missed out. Can I say that now?
Yeah.
So nurses have various career opportunities. I mentioned in home healthcare, and that one thing which I forgot is about the accreditation thing which I talked about. So nurses definitely can go in for an internal auditor's course, or they can go in for an external auditor's course, and they can become assessors for home healthcare organizations. And definitely, presently, Quality Accreditation Institute is conducting such trainings periodically, and they believe in empowering nurses to be assessors also. There are many nurses who are already assessors for home health care, and definitely nurses can consider becoming an assessor for home health care accreditation, or even an internal auditor also. Thank you.
Right. There is just this creative I wanted to showcase, which I wanted to talk about. Can you guys see my screen? Is my screen visible, Bobby?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So just to give a glimpse of, I know that nurses are the core for care delivery when it comes to home care. We cannot deliver anything without having the nurses with us and together with us in the journey. So this is a Dear Nurse campaign that we've launched a month ago for nurses empanelment for home care. But this is more to do with, if you see in the highlighted points also we've spoken about, we wanted to empanel them, but as well as empower them parallelly. And that is one of the reasons, and this is the promise I gave when I launched this campaign on 6th December, that we will come up with career counseling sessions and mentoring sessions by nursing leaders. And that's when I reached out to you, Bobby. That's why we're doing this talk today. One way is to bring in leaders like you to give them perspective about, create awareness about how home care is also an option for them and how they can build their career. A lot of times they need to hear that from their seniors to know what is happening. Second, of course, second, I spoke to you about how we are going to be continuing this empowerment through continued nursing education also. We're going to bring in certified training sessions, be it QAI, be it ISQA, or be it ATI Nursing from USA. We can talk about any nursing accreditation body or a nursing training body. We will bring in quality training sessions which will have that certification for them. It could be simple module also. If it is a junior nurse who's just gotten out, or probably unskilled ones if we are talking about, can I have a wound care module certified? Can they go through certain sessions, both theory and clinicals, conduct these sessions and certify them on those. The unskilled people also need to be updated And the skilled population we are talking about, registered nurses who know the basics, right? Can we bring them on to the next level of training? You know, probably the managerial training or the quality training. We could, you know, we are planning
specialty training or specialty training also.
Sure. Specialty training, definitely. Then build those, you know, those groups of nurses within the community with us, wherein, you know, when we talk about palliative nursing, we have a group which is certified and ready, you know, which can go out into the market and serve. And again, they're all free to choose wherever they want to work, you know. They can be available for us, but they could be doing their own thing too. And last thing again is, you know, give them an opportunity with us as well. You know, the moment they empanel with us, I get their information. The question we are asking is, do you want to try home care? Do you want to be part of home healthcare delivery? And whoever says yes in that form, only we are trying to, you know, kind of get connected to them, know where they are located currently, how they are employed, what are their schedules, when are they free, and whenever there is a service required, you know, we reach out to them and deliver that service.
One advantage, you can tell.
Please tell me. No, tell me.
So one advantage in home healthcare for a nurse at the bedside is in the hospital, they have to take care of 6 patients or 8 patients. Yeah. Whereas in home healthcare, the biggest advantage is that you have to take care of that just one patient. All your care delivery is towards that one patient, so you can give your best, you can do your best, you can spend adequate time with the patients. Patients also will recognize you and remember you better, and you'll have a better job satisfaction. That's what I feel in hospital. With the amount of workload and with the shortage of nurses and the attrition, the way they are running around with work overload, many a time, even without shifting to another job, because of burnout also, nurses leave, they are not able to cope up. But even as a beginner, I feel they can always try out home healthcare as an alternate option, wherein, they will just start with taking care of just one patient at the bedside at home.
Yeah, and you mentioned the right point, Bobby. Reward and recognition becomes a huge task in healthcare because everybody is slogging in the shifts. Everybody is taking care of 10 wards and 50 patients. There's no way, I don't know how the nursing leaders do it, but when you evaluate the performance, but like you rightly said, even if you are a junior most nurse, if you've just started, giving a basic wound care for a patient, at the end of the month, of the 1 month service, we collect feedbacks from all the people involved, from the patient, from the nurse who delivered the care, and from the provider also, about the entire care delivery and relationship with us. The moment the patient gives the testimonial that I've had the best possible service, what we do immediately is, send out a note and make sure that feedback and applause is recognized on that nursing provider's name, either to the group or to the individual, and sometimes both. And we also do these rewards and recognitions on social media as well, because that gives that boost for 100 more people to look at this industry. And I think there's no greater satisfaction than a patient saying a thank you to you. More than anybody, bedside, you've spent time, so you understand how it feels. And home care, again, there are different challenges. You have senior patients, bedridden patients who are going through terrible, chronic illnesses and recovering from bad surgeries. I think one right touch and care, I think the patients and the family will be more than happy to, applaud the caregiver. So there is definitely a brilliant point, Bobby. Being recognized, I think, is another advantage in home care. Last thing, you've answered your own question. You were talking earlier about how in hospitals, they work for X number of hours, but here they have to work for 12 hours. Now, you answered your own question, Bobby. The load there is probably more. Here, like you said, it's one patient with 12 hours is still better than 10 patients with 6 hours, because nurses run around with case sheets, the pain. So, but we need that. Without hospital system, we can't sustain. We are not undermining it. What we are saying is, nurses who have felt that burnout, who are facing that stress, please look at home care as a lucrative opportunity, both in terms of flexibility, career growth, and as well good pay scales as well. If you want to know more, please reach out to us. The campaign that I've showcased to you, you can visit our website, click2clinic.com. You can check, connect with us on Facebook or LinkedIn, or reach out to us. We have a toll-free number, 90716 if you have doubts about empanelment, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you. Bobby, thank you so much. I don't see any more questions, so I think we've come to the end of the session. Any parting message?
Thank you so much, Shravanti, and thanks a lot for having me on the show. And definitely, home healthcare is a very, very positive and avenue for the nurses to try out. And nurses, as I earlier said, they are the cornerstone of healthcare system, and though the doctors are in command, it is the nurse who execute the care plan, and definitely they can do wonders, and they can grow in their career also. That's it. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. And thank you all the participants.
Before we sign out, because we are still coming to the end of the year, COVID is still here. We are hoping for a vaccination drive. Like she rightly said, nurses are the ones who execute the care delivery. There's so much more need in home care, and we are looking for well-trained or well-minded nursing leaders, because even if you're not trained, we are happy to train you. But well-minded ones who know what home care is and who care about the patient. So please reach out to us if you want to empanel with us. We'll be happy to have you on board. Thank you so much, Bobby, for your valuable time. We'll come back and connect with you all another interesting session, probably in the weeks to come. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.